Come here now, girl.
Hello and welcome to What's Map, your one-stop shop for everything workshop. I'm BonBonB and you're very, very welcome. Well, have I got a treat for you today. Yes, one of the most iconic creators that ever was is back. I'll tell you what is also back. Some visual glitchery on my system. Nothing to do with this map. Basically, this weekend I cleared out my subscriptions, resubscribed to everything with my collections, basically set all the settings up as they were before, and for some reason I'm getting a little bit of a visual glitch between the sky and the horizon. So this is the same on every map at the moment until I can work out what's causing it and I can put it right. There will be, so just ignore that in today's show. Okay. What you shouldn't ignore though are cries for help. That's right, responding to cries for help really do support the channel, get me seen by more people and help me grow a little bit more every single day, so thanks for your support. Today's map is the Scandinavian Dream by Ecania. That's right, Ecania's back. Long time no see. Really good to have them back, of course. There's your start square, plenty of build space around that start square. Now, of course, because Ecania is one of the top creators, and there's no argument there, there's your height map. We'll have a look at the resources in a moment. I am, of course, especially tough on them. Especially tough, looking out for all the niggly things. Resources, usable, yeah, just about. Patches, that'll do. Off to the workshop. Nothing to... no DLC, sorry. No DLC is required. We'll be using the Moraine Farmlands theme, which is one of Ecania's very own. And given the choice of LUTs between the realistic 1.2 and relight average, so I went relight average because, well, why shouldn't we? Hey? Just for change. Off to the one-click collection. There is the one-click collection. It's not the longest list. It does technically class as a heavy list because, yeah, we've got over a dozen assets to subscribe to, but it's not overwhelming. So, yeah, if you're running a potato, you're flying from space to space on the potato, you're not going to like it much, but most people with a half-decent system will be okay with that list. Okay, so we are down at ground level, and again, as I say, just ignore the gap between the horizon and the sky because it's not going to be the prettiest area, and I will work it out in time. Okay, right, so Ecania fantasy map as the start of the fantasy map genre, I would suggest actually. This bridge is probably my favourite main bridge on the map. We've decided not to go with suspension. We've got the gap in the middle there for the shipping to go through, and it's basically perfectly lovely. Very happy with that. I've got a few grumbles about the suspension bridges. In fact, one of them we're not even going to have a look at. Probably what I would say is the worst one. We won't look at it. It's not horrendous. It's just not on our route. But yes, you make up your own mind when you see them. It's fine. They're good. They're fine. The other thing is it's a fantasy map, so we can suspend a little bit of disbelief on certain aspects because it's a fantasy map, right? Okay. As long as it just feels like it could be, that'll do. There, lovely first intersection. No grumbles there. And what we're going to do is we're going to head over towards these two bridges, not the route we're going to take. First of all, we've got this little humpback bridge over the rail. You may have already noticed we do have a pillar just glitching through the underside there. One tap of the page down button, that has gone. Now, I find that very humpbacked. Now, I know such bridges do exist, but I find that just a little, almost just too... It's scarring my eyeballs, okay? If you look at the amount of clearance we've got over the rail underneath, it's not stupidly high amount, of course, and we do know that these roads are basically much thicker than they should be, so it's very difficult for us creators to get the heights of the bridges exactly as they should be. But I feel that there's a little bit of give to come down. So if we bring that down just a little bit to say about there, moving the pillars as well as the bridge, maybe up a bit, maybe. What do we think? Is that about? Yeah, that's okay, I think. Yeah, so we come down. It's just reduced some of the steepness on that a little bit. Of course, if you want to reduce it a bit more, just grab the node and drag it out a little bit further away, and you could do that. That'd be something you could do, but I don't feel we really need to. But that'd be a much smoother. Yeah, it's fine. It's fine. It's not the ugliest thing at all. Now, speaking of suspension bridges, which we were a few moments ago, it's suspension of disbelief, suspension bridge of disbelief even. It's a big bridge. It allows for shipping to go underneath. It's absolutely fine, but I don't buy it. And there's another one somewhere else on the map. I can't remember where it is. A little bit smaller than that one, actually. That just seems overworked. Okay, but it's minor stuff in context of the map, which is a very lovely map indeed. We've got a road under road, pillars there. I feel, again, it's minor stuff. We've got the gap there, and then we've got a big old gap there. Maybe if we move those last pillars across maybe 10 meters, that would just make the thing look a little bit more balanced. Possibly. Again, all my grumbles today are minor ones, so don't think I'm smashing this map to pieces, because I'm really not. Actually, I really do like it, and as you're going to see from these star ratings when we get to the end of the show. But it's all about just, if I see something, I'm going to mention it. Like this. This is excellent. Nice little feature area, nice little bit of water. Of course, ecania also especially skilled with the water in these games. Got some clearance there, which is essential. We feel we absolutely have to have a little bit of clearance under the bridge and above the water. And then we come down to this intersection. This intersection very tidily tucked in between the mountains. It's a very lovely done. Very nicely done. It's very lovely and very nicely done indeed. Right, okay. Now we're going away from the bridge that I wanted to show you, but I completely forgot. We'll have a look at another one of these suspension marvels. Again, it's fine if you can accept that in a fantasy map, then it's a fantasy map. If you're looking for realism, then it might be something you'll want to rebuild. It won't be the worst thing you'll want to rebuild in the map, but in terms of realism, but there you go. Then you have the Start Square intersection, which is a take on the Diverging Diamond intersection. If you want to know more about them, do a little search for Diverging Diamond. You will need, of course, Traffic Manager to set this up so that it works like a Diverging Diamond. But for now, it's quite nice, and yeah, why not? Why not? What we do want to do, though, is we want to have a little look over here, because it's the asset of the day, of course. Finally, now this week I want to feature some creators that we don't normally do in the asset review section. One of the names you will recognise from the map review, but all of these are new assets from creators we've not seen. 20 Exchange Place by Aylac. What do you think? See, there are more creators than Luminu. There are. Anyway, factoids, because factoids. On this day, January the 20th, oil magnate Aristotle Onassis was born. He was a multi-millionaire with many oil tankers, and he once got involved in what amounted to a private war with Peru. Well, there you go. Sorry about that, Peru. Well, he was Greek. It was nothing to do with us. Nothing to do with us. Anyway, 20 Exchange Place by Aylac. That was today's asset of the day. Nice skyscraper. Good to see something a bit different from a different creator. Now, tunnels. Minor gribbles with this one. We're going uphill to get into a tunnel. And down here, we've got a little bit of road glitching going on there. What we'll need to do is we're going to just need to play about with this a little bit. I've just done a little bit of work there off camera. And we're just going to use the slope tool within Electric's mods there just to basically get the road sloping. And I'm deselecting. I've forgotten what my deselect keys are. It's fine. It's fine. He gets there in the end. But yes, most of the road nodes along here on the upper highway, I've dropped by one node just to get the roads level. And just by dropping the slopes like that, it looks just a bit nicer, I feel. What we would need to do, of course, is one more node inside the tunnels, drop that one down to the same sort of level. Because obviously it looks a bit Well, up hilly as you're going into the tunnel. Speaking of the tunnel, it does come very close to the surface over here. You can see it glitching on the surface right there. Again, minor stuff and a few trees on that, and that would hide that very nicely. And then it emerges over here, and I've got no grumbles about that at all. This bridge, however, I do, because it's just dragging its bottom in the water. Unlike the other one, there's no clearance at all, and we have mentioned it before many times that concrete does not get on very well with water. Not being submerged with running water, it would just erode away pretty quickly, I feel. Now we've got another one of these humpback bridges, only this time we have got all 4 of the pillars. I'm making this map sound dreadful. Honestly, I went to all the effort of finding the route with the most glitches on it. And yes, the rest of the map is lovely, I promise you. The rest of the map is absolutely lovely. Here's me forgetting how to use Move It. Can you see somebody who's been struggling with his PC all day trying to get things working, and now his brain is not working anymore? I was just about going on close down now, and honestly I had to get a start recording, otherwise there would have been no show at all. It's early evening for me now, and I'm literally just started recording the first What's map of the week. So yes, I had to start recording regardless of what the end result was. So consider that when we get to the end of the show, if you feel like marking the map down because of something or the other that is actually where I've told you, no, don't do it for that. Do it for any other reason, but don't do it for that reason. Anyway, what we got here is a big old suspension bridge again. Do you accept that? I think in the context of this sort of map, I do. Now, this little rail bridge here, I'm going to go to some effort to point this out. That there's a slight change in elevation up here. That is fine, but it could be just smoothed out a little bit. So what we're going to do, again, I'm just going to raise a few nodes here. Again, I could have used the slope tool, but I just manually changing a couple of nodes would be select the node, thank you. A couple of nodes like that. And drop that one a fraction just to make this slope look a little bit. There you go. I feel that looks a little bit more realistic. Okay, I'm not that bothered about it. I just saw as we were there, I'm not that bothered about it. Got a missing catenary there, and of course I do have a tutorial on the channel that shows you how to go about avoiding that, and a couple really close together there as well. But minor stuff, always minor stuff. In the context, when you look at this map as a whole, if you forget about these minor things, you just build in this, wouldn't you? You just wouldn't give it any thought, you just build on it. And that's correct. That's correct. All I'm doing is pointing out the minor stuff, so Ecania or his fellow top creators will look at it and go, hang on, I won't let that happen to me. Now, anyway, here's a rail bridge that is quite steep-ish. In context of a fantasy map, I think we could have that, but it does allow for passage underneath from shipping, and that's why it is as high as it is. Once again, if you are looking to do something a bit realistic, I feel that you probably want to demolish that and rebuild something a little bit more believable. So yes, that one I've skipped right past, and there'll be another one in a minute, like this one over here. Again, up to you what you feel. Don't feel it really affects the game at all, and I reckon in the context of a fantasy map, those sort of bridges will be absolutely fine. But it's your shout. It's the map that you may or may not be subscribing to. Not me at all. Okay, I'll follow this rail a little bit further. Must be getting roughly towards some location, maybe the edge of the map. No, I can see the start square off to the left. We're in the middle of the map somewhere still. Okay, right, we'll head down past some rubble there and lots of lovely forests. Great use of forests, of course. Another thing Ecania is exceptionally good at is choosing the right trees to go together to create a real lush, interesting, and the right colours as well. So the moraine farmlands really do work with the tree selection that we've got in place here. Okay, looks like we are now heading out because we've got one more rail bridge running parallel with the highway, taking us off towards the fog. So what we'll do now is we'll take the intermission, we'll come back, we'll have a look at the shipping, and we'll find some good things to say, because there's plenty, I promise you.
Are you confused by all those buttons running along the top and bottom of the screen? And what was that icon for again? Does anyone know? Then you need BonBonB's Beginner's Guide to the User Interface. Click the information button now.
Right, we're back with the Scandinavian Dream by Ecania and shipping routes. There are 2 shipping routes. They both follow sensible routes. They don't crash through any pillars. Oh, look, it's the Essential Lighthouse. It's the only time we're going to see that today because there are other things to be getting on with. So yes, the shipping route follows the 2 main rivers that go either side of what I'm going to call the main island. Is it an island? I guess it is really, I suppose. It's surrounded by rivers, so I guess it is sort of. And then that goes off. It'll merge in a minute, sort of merge with the other shipping route. There it is. It's coming the other side there, and that goes off to the edge of the map there. Then we've got one coming in from the opposite direction. And again, it follows a sensible route, avoids any rocks, doesn't go cross country, nips under bridges, and joins up at the opposite side of the map as well. Water flow. Now, this is the nearest river to the start square. Good water flow going through there, but not actually in the start square. What we have in the start square is we've got this little patch of still water here, which I feel will be perfectly good for drawing fresh water from. And over here, we've got this little pond, which I would be dumping the sewage into. Reason being, we have 2 water sources here, 2 spawn points, one higher than the other. This one's the drain. So if you pump your sewage into there, the drain will maintain it and actually take the sewage away, which is quite nice. Again, realistic, no, but it's a fantasy map. So that really, in the context of this map, doesn't bother me in the slightest. Really, really attractive looking map. Again, great designs. Great coast shorelines as well. Look at these islands. Look at Ecania does love these little islands. I mean, suggested one of them might be a BonBonB island, and I'm saying nah, too small for me and too close to anybody else. I mean, you could wade across the water and knock on my door and ask for an autograph, and I'd say, why do you want my autograph? PewDiePie lives next door. But anyway, what we got here is of course great mountains. This little nest of 4 mountains, which are like holding that little nest of roads, that spaghetti in the middle, looks really, really good indeed. The build planes are clear and obvious and flat, making it very easy to build on, which a lot of you will love. Here's your mix of trees, good density of trees as well, and again, well thought out, and hours have been spent putting these trees into exactly the right. I can't see what I would do differently with the trees on this map. We do have, what have we got over here? We've got mountains on the edge of the map. We do have, look, no field painting. We have this fertile land. I'm going to be honest with you, I find it a little bit bright, the colour of that in the rainfall. It's a personal thing. It's a personal objection. It's fine. It's not going to break anybody. But I find it a little bit too bright and distracting. But it's no doubt where your fertile land is. So I guess that's also not a bad thing. Right, so let me find a decent thumbnail position where we're not getting any glitching off of the horizon. And while I'm doing that, your chance to vote on this map. Is it a 1-star map? Is it a 5-star map? Is it somewhere in between? Your vote really does count. We use it at the end of the month for the Viewer's Choice Top 10. Oh, lovely little stream. We'll sit here somewhere. Is this one of the top 10 maps of the month? Only you can decide. And of course it is, but how high up that list will it be? Aesthetically, very nice indeed. Very nice indeed. Great theme. The layout looks great. The trees look great. My only problem is the brightness of the fertile, actually, if I'm honest with you. It's like a sore thumb on this map. And I don't really feel that it needs to be so bright. So easily changed, of course, with Theme Mixer 2. But as it's set, I'm going to give it 4 stars, a very high 4 stars. I love it. Detailing. It's got a lot of mini, tiny little grumbles. That's all. And so it's going to get 4 stars because the tiny little grumbles are tiny grumbles. So 4 stars for detail. For gameplay potential, almost unlimited. Almost unlimited. You might want to make some changes. You might want to fix some things. But honestly, I don't think there's anything that's actually draw you away from the game. So 5 stars for gameplay. Scandinavian Dream by Ecania. Good to have you back, Ecania. You can have one of these for your collection. It's the BonBonB seal of approval. Well, that is it. Oh, so good to have an Ecania map to nip into. You always know what you're going to get, don't you? You're getting consistency, you're getting quality, and you're going to get a few things to talk about. And this show would be boring without that. Anyway, thank you very much for watching, for commenting, for liking, and for subscribing, for joining me for another map in the What's Map series. We have got tomorrow another one. And I know, it's not by Ecania. So join me for that one. I'll see you tomorrow. Have a great day. I've been BonBonB, and you've been very, very welcome.